Welcome back to another video for the Satsang, Sadhana, and Sangha series, where I review some of the concepts and techniques and theoretical knowledge of the systems of Hatha Yoga. So today I want to talk about asana. I want to review the purpose, the function, the application of asana in our practice. And so we know that asana is the third limb of the 8 limbs of the Ashtanga yoga system, as taught by Patanjali. And so Hatha yoga, which came later after the Yoga Sutras were expounded upon, the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali 2000 years ago, Hatha yoga came as a way of, I guess, deepening one's understanding of the limbs, specifically the final 6 limbs from asana through pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. So Hatha yoga was and is the system of understanding how to deepen into those particular aspects of the Ashtanga yoga system. And so I just like to define that and clarify that, because we're talking about the greater system of yoga as a practice and a method and a spiritual science of attaining the ultimate goal of existence, according to, of course, this tradition. The ultimate goal of existence being the realization of our true nature and the rejoining or the yoking of one's individual soul, the jiva, the atman, with the para atman, the supreme soul. And this is what we talk about, the alignment between the individual self and the cosmic self, the unlimited self. And so in this process, we work through any of the obstructions and any of the inner or outer obstructions in our lives that are preventing us from experiencing a reality that is one of connectedness and harmony and fulfillment and wholeness. And so these are all just review for those of you who are practicing this. You understand this. And so today I want to talk specifically about that aspect, which is known as asana. And when we think of asana, a lot of people think of it as terms of stretching. And we have to remember that what we're really doing by placing our body in specific positions and shapes, which is what an asana is it's a shape of the body, is it's creating a certain geometry, an internal geometry, where the pathways of energy are flowing in a particular way. And so the asanas are tools to cultivate an understanding of how the energy circulates in the body, to become aware of the inherent geometry. These are geometries of life, right? These are what some people would call sacred geometry, or right, like the understanding that we get by studying nature and the patterns and ways in which things grow and develop. They follow an order, they follow a geometry. And asana is a way to reclaim and remember some of those inherent eternal patterns. And when we start to work with asana, the first thing one confronts is their physical limitations, the physical obstructions, tensions in the body, things that are right, like blockages that are preventing us from the so-called achievement of the pose. And it's very important, I think, that I think that in this video, what I want to emphasize is very important, is the understanding that the tools we use, the asanas we use, are part of a much bigger process. So the idea of stretching as a sort of goal in itself is a limited understanding, and approaching from that perspective is what reveals to us, right? Approaching from a perspective that, oh, my body's tense, I need to break down this tension, I need to kind of fight through the stiffness and approaching the postures from that sort of perspective is actually what the tool of asana is revealing to us as a mindset that we start to change. And that's the mindset of I guess, right, like forcing. There's a greed associated with that idea of forcing. There's a greed related to trying to push, right? Like trying to get something that's not necessarily ours. And what we learn through the consistency of practice is that there's actually a gradual adaptation and a gradual opening of the body as the body becomes more available and ready for what we are proposing to it or what we are introducing to it. And so that adaptation process is gradual. And in the daily cultivation of this, we are shown as a mirror, right? Our practice, our sadhana, is a mirror for our inner state. And so the most important thing as we engage in our asana as a tool of self-cultivation and self-mastery to move us towards a more aligned life is to pay attention. What is my inner dialogue? What is my attitude? What are the qualities that are present in me as I am practicing? What am I paying attention to? And starting to approach the practice with more skill. We're talking about a skillfulness in practice. And so that the asana becomes, again, part of a much bigger process and not a means of themselves or a goal in and of themselves, but rather a part of a step-by-step system to align us. And so approaching our asana from a perspective of, well, what is this pose teaching me, or what is it revealing to me? And how can I make the inner adjustment necessary so that there's less of the qualities that I'm trying to grow through or work through in myself present, and more of the divine qualities that I am aspiring to embody, more of those are present. Does that make sense? So as I'm practicing, I'm paying attention to what qualities am I currently embodying that I would like to work through and develop into what we might consider higher vibrational qualities or more divine qualities, virtues, things that in the yoga we talk about as the yamas and the niyamas. And so it's very important to apply what we know from the tradition as sort of the ethics and the guidelines of correct practice, but also see them through the lens of correct way of living, and to use our asana practice as a way to instill and embody and cultivate in us qualities that we can carry with us into our life that aren't just exclusive to, again, the mastery of the pose or the achievement of touching my toes or my head to my knees or whatever it is, like thinking that there's an end result to attain, when in reality it's just a gradual accumulation and a cultivation of the light, right? Like we're opening to light and receiving the light. And so this takes time, and it takes a shift in the attitude and the perspective from an egoic sort of acquisition or a kind of conquest, right? Like we have to move away from this idea of it being a conquest and trying to dominate the body and force or manipulate the body into things that it's not ready for, because that's a violation of the first principle of yoga, which is ahimsa, nonviolence. Now, there's something to be said about, of course, challenging ourselves and challenging ourselves in a good way, in a healthy way, in a way that stimulates those good qualities that I was mentioning, and reduces the qualities that we want to start to get rid of or to purify. And so when we are approaching practice or asanas that are challenging to us, right? Because sometimes there's asanas that we're like, oh yeah, I got a hang of that one. I can do that one well. but maybe there's other asanas that we don't quite have a handle on yet, or they're still, they don't feel amazing yet, or they challenge us in some sort of way. And that's okay. It's okay to do those as a process of adaptation, and to introduce to our system a gradual opening to more spaciousness and in a optimization of the circulation of energy. So it's okay to do those things that are challenging, but how we engage with them, and how we're breathing, and how the light is flowing and the circulation pathways are flowing when we're doing those activities, that's what's most important to pay attention to. So, can we learn how to do the things that are challenging to us on the mat and confront, right? Like we're literally confronting parts of ourself that are hidden in unconscious patterns, unconscious tensions, unconscious beliefs, that are things that are stored in our body that we may not be even aware of until we start to develop a practice which serves as a mirror and a tool for self-reflection, so that we can face those things and consciously start to grow through them. And so this is what I want to share about asana, to just take you a little deeper in your cultivation of your physical practice, as an understanding that it is part of a much greater process that is known as yoga, and to always remember what really we're working to achieve, in the sense of the like shifting one's perspective from I need to touch my toes as the goal, to how am I engaged in the process of moving towards my toes. So on a deeper level, and in conclusion of all of what I just shared, falling in love with the journey and not being trapped in the illusion of needing to get there, and losing sight of what's right in front of us as the work that we need to do, that as soon as we do it and we penetrate through, the light comes in and there is a transformation that takes place, a real transformation, because something has shifted. So looking for that opening and being open and curious to that opening will inspire us to continue to practice and discover new things, and not burn out due to forcing, straining, or practicing in a way that may be less optimal for these things that I mentioned. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys today about asana. I hope this is helpful, and I'll see you again for another video soon. Om Namah Shivaya.